Hello everyone, I'm Vikrant Bhosale. I welcome you all on behalf of the Unique Academy. Today we are going to discuss section B of this year's ethics paper 2024. Now this section is also known as case study section. Every year UPSC gives you 6 case studies to solve. Now there are a variety of issues that an aspirant is expected to address. If you classify case studies, they hover on 2 types of case studies. Now one type I would like to write here is options based case study. And second are issue based case studies. If you analyze the paper since 2013, when ethics paper has become part of civil services main exam, you'll realize that the proportion of case studies that are asked are most of the option-based case study. They are around 4 to 5 case studies every year asked, while issue-based case studies are either 1 or 2. But since last 3-4 years, UPSC has been asking the combination of option-based case study and issue-based case study. So instead of discussing theory a lot, let's start with examples, this year's examples. Now first case study, as you can notice the title, is about use of AI in industries, then use of business ethics while using AI and its implication on the environment. So I'll read the case study for you. There is a technological company named ABC Incorporated. So you have to keep this name in mind, which is second largest worldwide, situated in third world. You are the chief executive officer and the majority of shareholder. The meaning of this is owner of this company. So first step in solving any case study is to figure out who you are, what is your position is, out of which jurisdiction you are going to take the decisions. Okay, so you are not only CEO, you are also what? Majority of the shareholder. The fast technological improvements have raised worries among environmental activists. So stakeholder recognize करना है इसमें. So first stakeholder is environmental activists, second regulatory authorities and the general public. So these are the stakeholders. And what are these concerns about or worries about? Over the sustainability of this scenario. Now let's go to specifics that are given. You confront substantial issues about the business environmental footprint. So this is a concept. Environmental footprint means to what extent the activity of yours and your company is going to impact the environment. In 2023, your organizations had a significant increase of 48%. This is the figure which increases a large increase of greenhouse gas emissions compared to levels recorded in 2019. So 19 to 23, around 4 years, this increase has been noticed. The significant rise in energy consumption is mainly due to the surging energy requirements of your data centers, fueled by the exponential expansion of AI. Now what is happening here is AI is using large servers and these servers consuming a lot of energy. And at the same time, this energy generation is causing the generation of greenhouse gases. This is in a nutshell given here. Now, let's go for next concern. Okay, there is already a commitment made to achieve net zero emissions by 2030. Now, of course, this is a country's commitment, but it is also applicable to your organization as well. The challenge of lowering emissions seems overwhelming as the integration of AI continues to increase. So the role of AI is increasing. That is what is implied in this case study. So on one hand, you have to employ AI on a large scale in your business, but at the same time, you are committed to lower the emissions by 2030. Now, to achieve this goal, substantial investment in renewable energy would be necessary. So even the solution is also given within the case study that you need to invest in renewable energy. The difficulties increased by the competitive environment of the technology sector. So the technology in which your company is operating is competitive, where many players are out there who are trying to outwit each other. Where rapid innovation is essential for preserving market standing and shareholders' worth. To achieve a balance between innovation and profitability and sustainability, a strategic move is necessary that is in line with both the business objectives and the ethical obligation. So this is in nutshell the case study. Okay, so is scenario complete here? What is going on here? Yes. First is you are CEO, you are a majority of shareholder, your company is making use of AI and it is being largely integrated into your business. But since AI is used on large scale, it is consuming a lot of energy. This energy consumption is contributing to greenhouse gases. Now, on one hand, this is happening. On the other hand, we are committed to lower the gas emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. Now, this conflict is giving rise to certain challenges. What else is happening here? Now, these are the questions which UPSC has asked you in the context of this scenario. The first question is, what would be your immediate response? Okay, so of course, without wasting time, you have to quickly think about what immediately will you do. Now look at this, there are 4 sub-questions that are asked and you have to sum up the answer. You have to write entire answer in 250 words, that is for 25 marks, 20 marks. Now how will you approach it? So roughly you can divide your answer into 4 parts, but that's not advisable course. Here you need to weigh the scope of each and every sub-question, because marks are not given for each sub-question, marks are given for your overall response. So word limit is not strictly mathematically divided, but you have to take into account the scope of each question. So let's go for first, what would be your immediate response? In immediate response, you can go for these points. Okay, so for example, what is being told to you in case study that your company is using AI, and that is why it is 48% increase of energy is there. So what will you do? So immediate is you would assess the energy consumption. Okay, so this is being said, and especially where AI is being deployed, right? Now this is objectivity, where you are collecting the data, cross-checking what is being said, and then paving the way for further decisions. Second is engage your stakeholders like regulators, shareholders, and environmental groups. Okay. This will bring in transparency. This will create a confidence that you are serious about what is being said, what is being done, and people will appreciate your efforts. Second will be short-term reduction plan. So of course, mere data is not enough. You should have some plan. So what is the plan here? One way could be optimizing AI algorithms to reduce energy use. So of course, the way AI functions, if the algorithm written are so complex, so lengthy that they need lot of processing, then of course it will increase the energy consumption. So what is the solution here? Optimize the algorithm so that not too much processing will be required, and in turn that will not require a lot of energy. Second, explore partnerships for lower emission energy solution. So of course there are experts out in the market, various consultants who can help you to achieve this short-term strategy or short-term goals. So partner with them and you can achieve this short-term reduction plan. Third is, again, immediate accelerate renewable investment. So whatever plan you have about putting in investment in renewable energy, you can fasten it up. How? Invest in renewable energy to reduce conventional energy dependence. So whatever energy that is being used by AI should be gradually replaced by renewable energy. So assume that tomorrow you are using fossil fuels, which is contributing to greenhouse gases. Over a period, you should try to achieve net zero emissions in using energy for AI. Fourth, bring about transparency and accountability. So here you need to communicate publicly your actions that you are taking to reduce the carbon footprint. So this will be your immediate action plan to counter the challenges. Now, what are the ethical issues involved in the case study? Okay, ethical issue का मतलब क्या है? Ethical issue means the issue which gives rise to the situation where you need to decide what is right and what is wrong. You need to grapple with the matter of morality. So let's look at this issue, where you have environmental responsibility on one hand, on the other hand, you need to inevitably pursue the goal of technological growth, without which your company may not remain competitive. So balancing AI innovation with environmental impact. Okay, AI innovation you cannot stop, but at the same time you cannot have its adverse impact on the environment. Second, long-term sustainability versus short-term profitability. So for example, if you do not pursue AI innovation and technological growth, your profit will go down. But if you mindlessly pursue the profit without minding impact of AI on environment, it will jeopardize the long-term sustainability. So this is another ethical issue. Third ethical issue is inequality in environmental impact. Okay. So climate change doesn't impact all people equally. So who is the most susceptible to climate change and its impact is the vulnerable group and local people where these things are happening. So you have to also take care of this because this is an ethical issue. And last, ethical use of AI. Okay. So whatever way AI is used, that AI use has to be fair, transparent, and ethical. So these are some of the ethical issues that are found in the given case study, and you need to explain them well so that the examiner will understand what you're saying. Next question is, your company has been identified to be penalized by technological giants. What logical and ethical arguments will you put forth to convince about its necessity? Now this point about its necessity, it means what? It means that why company is being penalized and how the use of AI is necessary even while taking into account environmental sustainability into account. अब इसका मतलब क्या है? That of course you will be using AI, but for using AI, if you are penalized, how using AI is necessary, that you need to explain. So this is the title, avoiding penalties, and what ethical and logical arguments you would give for what? Using AI. Okay, first argument is you are showing commitment to sustainability. So of course you are actively pursuing net zero emissions by 2030. So that could be one argument in which you can say, please don't penalize us. Second is investment in renewable energy, that you are accelerating, investment in renewable energy. But if the company is penalized, it won't be able to pursue that goal, and the greenhouse gas emission will continue to arise and continue to increase, and it will impact the environment. Third, there is a need to balance innovation and environmental goals. So innovation is the key, but innovation करने के लिए fund चाहिए, right? So penalties may deprive the company of the necessary fund which is required for innovation. And finally, ethical argument for fairness. Now what is here needed is global contribution has to be taken into account. Your company, you should note that in the first paragraph of the case study, it is given that your company is the topmost in third world. Okay, so why third world companies are being penalized when global contributors are being ignored? So it is not fair. So you have to also give the argument, ethical argument in the context of fairness. So these are some of the arguments that you can advance to highlight the necessity of continuing with AI at the same time considering its environmental impact. Now last question. Okay. Being a conscious person, what measures would you adopt to maintain balance between AI innovation and environmental footprint? Okay, this is the question asked to you. So what are the balancing options you have? Okay, first is AI optimization for energy efficiency. Develop energy efficient AI models and algorithm. These are the major. Second major is the renewable energy adoption. You have to increase its use. Third, AI driven sustainability solution. So again, use AI to optimize energy use and reduce wastage. So AI is very efficient in that. And carbon offsetting program. So invest in reforestation and clean energy projects. So it talks about carbon credits, selling and purchasing carbon credits, and assisting the green energy initiative or investing in a green technology. That can happen here. What are the additional measures that you can employ is R&D in green technologies, public-private partnerships. So partnering with those people who are doing better than you and taking the advantage of their expertise. Okay, collaboration chahiye. Employee and community engagement chahiye. So you have to increase awareness of employees as to why it is necessary. We need to take environmentally sustainable initiative. At the same time, you have to engage with the public and long-term growth and sustainability. Align your business goal with environmental ethics so that in future you may not face such a dilemma. So if you think in a visionary way, you can avoid this situation before time. Is this clear? Okay, good. Now let's go for next case study. Take a look at next case study. It is about unemployment, radicalization of youth, and finally terrorism. Now, let's look at some of the facts and some of the highlighted concerns. Okay, the person who is focal point of the case study is Raman. He is a senior IPS officer and he has been recently promoted to as a DG of a state. Okay, and there are various issues and problems that are happening in his state. Immediate attention. One is recruitment of unemployed youth by an unknown terrorist group. Okay, and it is happening because of unemployment, of course, and it is mainly among those who are educated, like graduates. Okay, and those with higher education, because they are educated, they have skills, they have knowledge, but their brain and their skills are not being used. So they are more vulnerable, they are more soft targets. That psychology you have to understand. So again, you can employ social psychology here. See, in your syllabus, there are 3 distinct parts of your syllabus as far as theory is concerned. One is about ethics or moral philosophy. Second is about social psychology. And third is about public administration. While analyzing the case study, you have to also figure out which part of your syllabus is applicable to which kind of situation. So when you are looking at such lines like they are vulnerable and soft targets, you have to understand the social psychology of youth, especially highly educated and graduate people. When they are unemployed, what kind of pressure they feel and how they are easy to manipulate by such groups known as unknown terrorist group. Okay, second aspect. You conduct a meeting, okay, with senior officers, and it comes to light that new terrorist groups have emerged at global level and they are recruiting the young unemployed people, and particularly they are targeting a particular community, say a religious minority or it could be racial minority. The said organizations seem to have the clear objective of utilizing them for carrying out militant activities. It is also gathered that the said group is desperately trying to spread its tentacles in. So it is a new group, but now it is trying to spread its influence. Now you receive an intelligence from CID and Cyber Cell that large number of unemployed youth are already contacted through social media. So again, you have to identify the stakeholders that you can leverage, as well as local communal organizations and their contacts. And solution is also given. The need of the hour to act swiftly and to check these elements, designs before they assume serious proportion. So it is just the beginning. Still it has not acquired a serious proportion. So you have to understand the gravity of the situation. Then, what is next? Discrete inquiries made by the police through Cyber Cell revealed that good number of unemployed youth are very active on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. On an average, many of them were spending 6 to 8 hours. Now this is important. The amount of time spent by them, okay, on social media. Okay. It also came to light that such unemployed youth were showing sympathy and endorsing the messages received from certain person, alleged in contact person of that terrorist group. So again, this is a matter of psychology, sympathizing and endorsing such messages by youth. Okay. Then the social media accounts reveal that strong affinity to such groups, in as much as many of them started forwarding anti-national tweets on their WhatsApp, Facebook. It seemed that they succumbed to their ploy, started propagating secessionist ideology. So this word is important. Secession ka matlab kya hai? That they want separate country, they want to secede from the country. Their posts were hypercritical. So the case study suggests that one should not be hypercritical of the government initiatives. So policies and subscribing to extreme beliefs and promoting extremism. So these are some of the concerns raised in the case study. Now what is being asked? Okay, by taking into account all this context, it is a little big case study. आपको 3 सवालों के जवाब देने हैं. 1, ये जो डीजी है रमन, इनके पास क्या ऑप्शन है टू टैकल दिस सिचुएशन. नाउ यू नो द सिचुएशन. Okay, this new terrorist group is trying to recruit young people who are unemployed, who are spending lot of time on social media, but yet they have not been able to. So before it becomes a serious matter, what options Raman has got? Second, what measures would you suggest? Now you are here. It is not what Raman should do. Okay, now the questions need to be answered from different perspective. When you are talking from Raman's perspective, your language will be different. When you are suggesting what you needs to be done, your language will be different. Suggest for strengthening the existing setup to ensure that such groups do not succeed in penetrating and vitiating the atmosphere in the state. So ये जो B वाला है, this is about more like systemic issues. Okay, system क्या कर सकता है? Okay, ये person क्या कर सकता है? यहाँ Raman is the focal point, but here it is talking about strengthening the existing setup. So यहाँ systemic perspective आना चाहिए. Okay, आपको ये समझना चाहिए, because when you know the focus of the question, your answer becomes more precise. In the above scenario, what action plan would you advise for enhancing the intelligence gathering mechanism? So again, it is talking about enhancing intelligence gathering mechanism. So again, it is systemic. Of the police force. So अगर focus clear हो गया, it is very easy for you to devise the precise measures. So let's talk about options that are available to Raman. Okay, first is start with the cyber monitoring and surveillance. So अभी जो आपके पास setup है cyber monitoring का, उसको strengthen करना है. और किस काम में लगाना है? Intelligence gathering and social media monitoring में लगाना है. That you have to keep close watch on these youth from particular community who are unemployed and who are spending lot of time on social media. Second, in order to track their radicalization, you can make use of AI. So AI, by using certain algorithms, can figure out what kind of words, phrases that are frequently used to interact with youth who are being radicalized. Real-time intelligence sharing with central agencies. So there are many central agencies involved in surveillance, involved in keeping intelligence, gathering intelligence. You can coordinate with them. So this is about first aspect that Raman should get to. Second is engaging with vulnerable youth. Okay. So इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं Raman? Of course not himself, but with the help of others, that he can start taking initiative which are geared towards job creation. So there are multiple schemes at rural level as well as urban level where Government of India tries to create job for the youth, like Skill India program, Narega. So vocational training program can also be organized. Then community's involvement is also essential, right? Because there is one technique in social psychology, attitude में आप सीखते हो, उसको कहते हैं role playing. Okay. अगर किसी भी आदमी को उस रोल में डाल दोगे तो उस रोल के तरफ उसकी एटीट्यूड ठीक से हो जाती है. ओके, करेक्ट एटीट्यूड फॉर्मेशन टेक्स प्लेस. सो इफ यू इन्वॉल्व कम्युनिटी इन पुलिसिंग and if you outreach to that community from where youth are being radicalized, the attitude towards police and entire government setup will change. So this needs to be done. Third is legal and preventive action. Despite all this, if people don't deviate from their wrong path, then you have to take legal action, prosecute those who are recruiting these youth under anti-terrorism law, monitor and shut down extremist organizations who are spreading the anti-national messages which are hypercritical of the government, and finally implement the de-radicalization programs. So if you identify those youth who are already radicalized, you can conduct de-radicalization program for these youth. So these are the immediate action Raman can take as a form of option. Now what are the measures to strengthen the existing setup? So ये systemic है सब, ठीक है. इसमें पहला है एनहांस साइबर सिक्योरिटी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. तो उसके लिए क्या होना चाहिए? अपग्रेडिंग दी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. ओके, एंड फॉर दैट ट्रेन द ऑफिसर्स हु आर इन्वॉल्व इन साइबर सर्वेलेंस. देन There are various social media platforms that are mentioned like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. उनके साथ कोलैबोरेट करना है और उनको फ्लैग करना है, उनको हाईलाइट करना है कि ये एक्सट्रीमिस्ट कंटेंट है, ये एक्सट्रीमिस्ट लोग हैं जो एंटी नेशनल एक्टिविटी में एंगेज है, उन पे वॉच रखो, उनके अगेंस्ट एक्शन ले लो. ये हो गया साइबर का. सेकंड है कम्युनिटी के साथ कैसा करना है, ये भी सिस्टमिक है. ओके, कम्युनिटी को अगर आप रिफॉर्म नहीं करोगे, कम्युनिटी में जो प्रिजुडाइसेस है उसके ऊपर काम नहीं करोगे, तो आप जो भी करोगे दैट विल बी लाइक अ बैंडेड प्रोग्राम. ओके, इट विल नॉट बी अ रियल ट्रीटमेंट. सो इसमें क्या होना चाहिए, क्रिएट अवेयरनेस with religious and community leaders. So leaders are those who have more impact on the community. If you communicate your message through leader, again you learn all this in attitude change. Okay, attitude change करने के लिए कौन कौन से फैक्टर चाहिए ये हम सब थियरी में पढ़ते हैं, तो उसका ये एप्लीकेशन है. ओके, सो एटीट्यूड चेंज में बहुत सारे फैक्टर है, जिसमें एक फैक्टर है कि कौन मैसेज दे रहा है, ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो वो मैसेंजर कौन होना चाहिए एटीट्यूड चेंज के लिए, the leaders of that community. Second, रेडिकलाइजेशन को कॉम्बैट करने के लिए आपको पब्लिक कैंपेनिंग करना है. तो उसके मीडियम अलग अलग हो सकते हैं. इट कुड बी स्ट्रीट प्लेज इन बैकवर्ड एरियाज, इट कुड बी डॉक्यूमेंट्री फॉर यूथ, इट कुड बी टीवी प्रोग्राम फॉर हाउस होल्डर्स, इट कुड बी न्यूज फॉर मिड एज पीपल, इट कुड बी रिलीजियस discourses through which you can drive the message of tolerance and harmony. सो ये अलग अलग कैंपेनिंग हो सकता है. देन क्रिएट इकोनॉमिक अपॉर्चुनिटीज. ओके, एम्प्लॉयमेंट स्कीम ले लो या फिर पार्टनर विद प्राइवेट सेक्टर फॉर जॉब क्रिएशन. सो दिस इज अगेन लॉन्ग टर्म मेजर्स टू स्ट्रेंथन द एग्जिस्टिंग सेटअप. एंड फाइनली स्ट्रिक्टर लीगल एनफोर्समेंट. सो प्रोएक्टिव यूज ऑफ एंटी टेरर लॉज एंड मॉनिटरिंग एंड टेकिंग एक्शन अगेंस्ट कम्युनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सो ये जो है एग्जिस्टिंग सेटअप आपका, ओके, विच एंड द ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है इसका, नॉट सक्सीड इन पेनिट्रेटिंग एंड विशिएटिंग द एटमॉस्फेयर इन द स्टेट. सो ये सब टुगेदर कैन प्रिवेंट द हैपनिंग ऑफ दिस विशिएशन ऑफ द एटमॉस्फेयर. एक्शन प्लान फॉर एनहांस इंटेलिजेंस गैदरिंग. सो इंटेलिजेंस गैदरिंग अच्छा होने के लिए क्या क्या करना चाहिए. फर्स्ट इज इंटीग्रेटिंग टेक्नोलॉजी. सो इन्वेस्टमेंट चाहिए इसमें एआई और बिग डेटा में फॉर एनालाइजिंग ऑनलाइन एक्टिविटी, बिकॉज ये मैन्युअली तो नहीं हो सकता, इतना डेटा जनरेट होता है. स्ट्रेंथनिंग डेटा शेयरिंग बिटवीन स्टेट, सेंट्रल एंड ग्लोबल एजेंसीज. सो मेनी टाइम्स ये जो नया टेरर ग्रुप है इसका ग्लोबल डायमेंशन भी है. सो यू हैव टू कोऑर्डिनेट विद ऑल द स्टेक होल्डर्स. यू बिलोंग टू स्टेट, रमन बिलोंग टू स्टेट, then central agencies are there who are doing pan-Indian work as far as intelligence is gathering concerned, and there are global agencies like you can Interpol है या फिर FATF है, Financial Action Task Force है, इनसे डेटा आप ले सकते हो. Then emphasize on human intelligence. So you cannot completely replace human intelligence by technology. So you have to also rope in what, local informants, and encourage community and leaders to help state authorities in gathering intelligence. Then training program organize करो officers के लिए so that they can be adept in collecting intelligence and processing it for the purpose. And finally, collaborate with international agencies as far as intelligence sharing is concerned and adopt the best practices for countering radicalization. So there are other countries where these programs are being run to de-radicalize the youth. You can learn from them. Show this readiness to learn from others and employ in our country. So this is also known as comparative public administration. So in nutshell, this is the answer. Real time intelligence hub and multi-pronged strategy के लिए यह पॉइंट आप मेंशन कर सकते हो. That real time intelligence hub के लिए क्या चाहिए, मल्टी एजेंसी कोऑर्डिनेशन चाहिए. ओके, एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजी के लिए क्या चाहिए, कम्युनिटी का एंगेजमेंट, लीगल एक्शन, इंटेलिजेंस गैदरिंग. ओके, ये सब कंबाइन करके आपको करना है. सो दिस इज इन नटशेल योर कंक्लूजन. नाउ नेक्स्ट केस स्टडी, 9 number क्वेश्चन. इट इज अबाउट नक्सलिज्म, देन सिटीजन्स रोल and police duty. Sometimes these things clash and they give rise to tricky situation. So I'll read it for you. With the multi-pronged strategy of the central and state government, especially in the last few years, the Naxalite problems has been resolved to a large extent in the affected states of the country. सो पहला जो स्टेटमेंट है ये पॉजिटिव कुछ आपको बता रहा है, दैट गवर्नमेंट हैज टेकन इनिशिएटिव एंड द रिजल्ट इज इन मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टेट्स वेयर नक्सलाइट प्रॉब्लम वाज देयर इट हैज बीन रिजॉल्व्ड. However, now there is a contradiction mentioned. There are few pockets in certain states where Naxalite problem still persists due to involvement of foreign countries. So again, another stakeholder is there. Foreign countries which are supporting and encouraging Naxalites. Rohit, now there is a person who is a focal point. Rohit is posted as SP, Superintendent of Police of what? Special Operations. For the last 1 year in one of the districts which is still affected by the Naxalite problem. So SP है रोहित और वहाँ posted है. The district administration has taken a lot of development works in the recent past in the Naxalite affected areas to win the hearts and minds of the people. So ये काम हुआ है, किया है, ये आपको नोट करना है. Okay. Over a period of time, Rohit has established an excellent intelligence network. So ये भी हुआ है. To get the real-time information regarding the movement of Naxalite cadre. To instill the confidence in the public and have moral ascendancy over the Naxalites, a number of cordons and search operations are being conducted by the police. So ये भी हो रहा है. Rohit, who himself was leading one of the contingents, got a message through his intelligence source that about 10 hardcore Naxalites were hiding in a particular village with sophisticated weapons. Without wasting any time, Rohit reached the target village with his team, laid out a foolproof cordon and started carrying out a systematic search. During the search, his team managed to overpower all the Naxalites with their automatic weapons. However, so ये हुआ है, they have caught the Naxalites, they have apprehended them, they have arrested them. Okay. बट फिर से कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन क्या हुआ? इन द मीन टाइम मोर देन 500 ट्राइबल वुमेन सराउंडेड द विलेज एंड स्टार्टेड मार्चिंग टुवर्ड्स द टारगेट हाउस. दे वर शाउटिंग एंड डिमांडिंग immediate release of insurgents. So here what you notice is support to Naxalism by villagers, particularly women. Okay, so you have to also take this matter into account. The situation on the ground was becoming very critical. So ये critical हो रहा है. As the tribal women were extremely agitated, aggressive, Rohit tried to contact the superior officer, IG of the state on the radio set on mobile phone, but failed to do so. So communication नहीं है, communication failure है. So failed to communicate. Okay, contact. Rohit was in great dilemma since out of the Naxalite apprehended, 2 were not only hardcore top insurgents with prize money of 10 lakhs on their heads, but were also involved in a recent ambush on the security forces. However, if he did not release the Naxalite, the situation could get out of control. So demand क्या है? उनको release करो, अगर नहीं हुआ तो out of control हो जाएगा. Since the women were aggressive and charging towards them, in that case, to control the situation, Rohit might have to resort to firing, which may lead to valuable loss of life. So dilemma clear हो जाता है इधर. Okay, would further complicate the situation. So ये scenario है. अब ये क्वेश्चन है आपके पास. देखो क्या क्या क्वेश्चन है. एक तो ऑप्शन क्या है रोहित के पास, क्या वो कर सकता है ऐसी सिचुएशन में जहां ऑन वन हैंड ही हैज टू पनिश दीज हार्डकोर नक्सलाइट्स, बट ऑन द अदर हैंड इफ ही डज सो देन दिस वुमेन मे कॉज फर्दर डैमेज. ओके, डायलेमास भी आपको बताना है. ओके, कि क्या क्या डायलेमा है, एक ही डायलेमा नहीं, अलग अलग डायलेमा है. देन आफ्टर थिंकिंग ऑल दिस, व्हाट कुड बी फाइनल ऑप्शन दैट रोहित शुड अंडरटेक अकॉर्डिंग टू यू. So that is third question. Okay, आपको भी रोल दिया है कि आपको बताना है कि ये सब ऑप्शन हो जाने के बाद इसमें से मोर अप्रोप्रिएट क्या होगा. So you cannot say all are appropriate. And finally, extra precautionary measure क्या लेना चाहिए because you are or Rohit is dealing with women protesters. Okay, so ये 4 सवाल है. Again, you have to answer in 250 words for 20 marks. So let's look at answers. पहला है निगोशिएट करो. ओके, ऑफ कोर्स परसुएशन इज ऑफन बेटर देन कंपल्शन. सो ये जो ट्राइबल वुमेन है इनके साथ डायलॉग करने की कोशिश करो, that explain them that why you are arresting these Naxalites and why it is important to bring them to the justice and how will you follow the due process of law. ये आपको explain करना है if at all they understand. Second option ये है कि उनको temporarily release कर दो with the possibility that you would track them further somehow. लेकिन इसमें danger ये है it will set a wrong precedent. Okay. Third ये है use of non-lethal force. मीन्स बहुत बार क्राउड कंट्रोल के लिए या टू पैसिफाई पीपल एंड टू काउंटर देयर अग्रेशन ये भी किया जाता है, टीयर गैस, वाटर कैनन्स, रबर बुलेट्स, सो दैट क्राउड वुड बी डिस्पर्स्ड एंड यू विल गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बी एस्केप with your contingent. Then call for reinforcement. Of course, send a police officer on foot or with vehicle to some distance nearest unit so that he can get the help from the nearest unit. And finally, hold your position and try to de-escalate the matter. De-escalate का मतलब क्या है? Try to reduce the possibility of violence. The next question we need to deal with is what are the ethical dilemmas faced by Rohit? One is safety of civilians versus law enforcement. Okay, choosing one of these is very difficult. You have to ensure that civilians are safe, they won't get harmed, but at the same time, Rohit has to perform his own duty. Okay. Second is justice versus public sentiment. So of course, public sentiment is in favor of Nakshals who have done very severe and cruel things. But of course, you cannot completely wash away public sentiments. But at the same time, you cannot violate the principle of justice. So this is second. Use of force versus humanitarian consideration. So of course, if these women become so aggressive that they intend to harming you and your team, of course, you'll have to use violence. But again, second is humanitarian consideration, that you have to show humanness towards these tribal people. And finally, short-term relief versus long-term consequences. So अगर short term में छोड़ दिया तो calmness या peace आ जाएगा, लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म में क्या होगा? इट विल बी अ डेंजरस प्रेसिडेंट. ओके, सो ये डायलेमा रोहित फेस करेगा, आपको ये बताना है. द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट क्या है? सो मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट ये है, निगोशिएट करो ट्राइबल वुमेन के साथ, बट होल्ड योर पोजिशन, डोंट गिव अप ऑन योर पोजिशन. एंड इसका रीजन क्या बताना है आपको? दैट इट प्रायोरिटाइजेस सिविलियन सेफ्टी, यू आर नॉट एंगेजिंग इन टू वायलेंस एंड asserts the rule of law. At the same time, you are not compromising with the rule of law. Second, it allows time for communication or reinforcement. So when your negotiations are happening, someone can go out and seek the help. And third, maintains moral high ground, focusing on non-violence. So since you are not engaging into violence, you are maintaining a moral high ground. You are not giving chance to women protesters to engage into violence. So these are the reasons for which this is the best option that you need to tell. Last. Now these are the precautionary measures that Rohit should undertake while dealing women protesters. So what is that? First is avoid aggression. Remain calm, avoid provoking the people so that they would be calm and would try to reason you out. Second, engage women leaders. So persuasion की skill आप इधर डाल सकते हो. Okay, so इसमें community leader भी आ सकते हैं. You can figure out who are the community leader and you can speak to them first, convince them. You can engage your female officers to engage into dialogue so that these community leaders will be more comfortable. So use of female officers. Non-lethal crowd control. Of course, we have seen that. जिसमें किसी को harm नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन crowd control हो रहा है. And record the incident for the sake of transparency and accountability, so that what transpired will be very much clear to everyone. And reinforcement of dialogue. So emphasis on dialogue so that it will lead to building trust and peace. Now understand this, when the case study is large and when there are multiple questions and they need to be answered in 250 words, you have to be very succinct and to the point. Because if you try to write in an expansive manner, in a detailed manner, you might end up using lot of space for those points which otherwise would not allow you for other points. Okay. Next case study is about media ethics and conflict of interest. Medical ethics and conflict of interest. So what is the case? I'll read it for you. Sneha is a senior manager working for a big reputed hospital chain in a mid-sized city. She has been made in charge of the new super specialty center, that the hospital building with the state of the art equipment and world class medical facilities. The building has been reconstructed and she is starting the process of procurement for various equipments and machines. As the head of the committee responsible for procurement, she has invited bids from all the interested reputed vendors dealing in medical equipment. So this is where scenario of Sneha and hospital is complete. Okay. She is a manager and she is also head of the committee responsible for procurement, and this procurement is just about to happen. She notices that her brother, who is a well-known supplier in this domain, has also sent his expression of interest. अब उसका brother भी उस process में है, okay, who has filed up the tender. Since the hospital is privately owned, it is not mandatory for her to select only the lower bidder. So ये कोई restriction नहीं है उसके ऊपर कि lower bidder को ही select करना है. Also she is aware that now this is a problem highlighted which her brother is facing. Brother's company has been facing some financial difficulties and a big supply order will help him recover. At the same time, allocating contract to her brother might bring charges of favoritism. So ये भी problem है against her and tarnish her image. The hospital management trusts her fully. Now this is tricky. Okay. And would support any decisions of her. So she has complete freedom and hospital management has complete trust on her. Now what should she do? Okay. So there are 3 questions. What should be Sneha's course of action? That is first question. How would she justify what she chooses to do? So जो भी वो करेगी उसको justify करना पड़ेगा. And in this case, how is medical ethics compromised with vested personal interest? So अगर कुछ पॉसिबिलिटी है कॉम्प्रोमाइज होने की तो वो कैसे हो सकता है जिसमें वेस्टेड पर्सन इंटरेस्ट सर्व हो रहा है. सो ये क्लियर केस ऑफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है एंड इट इज कंसर्न विद मेडिकल एथिक्स. सो लेट्स लुक एट सम ऑफ द पॉइंट्स. फर्स्ट इज रिकमेंडेड कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन फॉर स्नेहा. ओके. फर्स्ट इज शी शुड डिक्लेयर द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. शी शुड टेल द मैनेजमेंट and procurement committee that her brother is bidding for it, okay, for the sake of transparency. Second, she should recuse herself from the decision making because that will clear her from any conflict of interest and it will maintain fairness. Ensure fairness and transparent evaluation. So वो recommend कर सकती है कि independent review panel चाहिए जो assess कर सकता है bids को and वो तय कर सकता है कि whether it is based on predefined criteria like quality pricing. तो ये सब स्नेहा के रिकमेंडेड कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन हो सकते हैं इन दिस केस. सेकंड इज जस्टिफिकेशन. ये क्यों चाहिए? फर्स्ट इज मेंटेनिंग इंटीग्रिटी एंड अकाउंटेबिलिटी. सो डिक्लेयरिंग द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एंड रिक्यूजिंग herself shows commitment to these ethical standards. So she is maintaining integrity and she is showing accountability. Second क्या हो रहा है? Safeguarding trust. So it is mentioned in the last few lines that hospital management completely trusts us. So by stepping aside, she prevents perception of nepotism and maintaining trust in her professional role. So her reputation remains intact, her character remains intact. Upholding fair competition. So independent evaluation जो propose किया था वो ensure कर रहा है that the most qualified vendor is chosen and protecting the hospital's interest. Okay. So जो सबसे qualified है, whether her brother or somebody else, would be chosen by independent body, not by her, and hospital's interest will be protected. And in turn, it will also protect the interest of patients. Okay. So ये आप अलग से भी लिख सकते हो या फिर हर एक कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन के नीचे भी लिख सकते हो. ओके. अगर कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो गया तो वो कैसे हो सकता है? एक तो इसका इंपैक्ट हो सकता है ब्रीच ऑफ प्रोफेशनल इंटीग्रिटी. अवॉर्डिंग द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ड्यू टू पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट अंडरमाइंस फेयरनेस एंड प्रोफेशनलिज्म इन प्रोक्योरमेंट. सो अगर उसने ब्रदर को अवॉर्ड कर दिया कॉन्ट्रैक्ट तो ये वैल्यू डैमेज हो सकती है, फेयरनेस एंड प्रोफेशनलिज्म. ओके. क्वालिटी केयर में क्या हो सकता है? प्रायोरिटाइजिंग पर्सनल कनेक्शंस ओवर द बेस्ट वेंडर कुड पॉसिबिलिटी है रिजल्ट इन सब स्टैंडर्ड equipment harming patient care. So ultimately who would suffer? Not only hospital but also patients. Erosion of trust. Of course hospital trusts her, but that trust will be eroded because she is showing favoritism and reputation भी damage हो सकता है जो किसके लिए? ethical and patient centered care के लिए. So ये हो सकता है. Now, what are the key ethical concerns? These are the 3 key ethical concerns. that are involved in the case study. One is fairness, second is beneficence, third is accountability. Fairness में क्या होना चाहिए? Impartiality आनी चाहिए whenever decisions are being made, what to procure, from whom to procure. Okay, so that hospitals and patients' best interest is served. Beneficence में क्या होना चाहिए? That patients should not be harmed, rather their well-being should be ensured through the best quality care and equipment. And accountability में क्या होना चाहिए? That जो भी डिसीजन मेकिंग का प्रोसेस है उसको ट्रांसपेरेंट बनाना चाहिए, प्रोफेशनलिज्म होना चाहिए उसमें, एंड दिस विल हेल्प हर टू अपहोल्ड द ट्रस्ट दैट इज बेस्टोड ऑन हर. सो दीज आर द की इथिकल कंसर्न दैट कुड बी एड्रेस्ड इफ शी बिहेव्स इथिकली. नाउ दिस इज 11th, second last case study. This is about management of crisis, water crisis, especially when competing demands are there. So what is the situation? Situation is the summer is going on, heat is exceptionally severe, a district is facing severe water shortage. The district collector has been mobilizing his subordinate official to conserve the remaining water reserves for preventing district from plunging into acute drinking water shortage. So drinking का भी problem आ जाएगा. Along with an awareness campaign, so campaign launch किया है, so they are adopting psychological techniques. For conserving water, strict measures have been taken for stopping the overexploitation of groundwater. Vigilance teams have been deployed to tour the villages. So वो क्या कर रहे हैं इसको stop करने के लिए? They are touring the villages and finding the farmers who are drawing waters from deep bore wells or from the river reservoir for irrigation. So जो irrigation के लिए पानी use कर रहे हैं उनको stop कर रहे हैं. The farmers are agitated now because their activities are stopped. They are not getting water for their agriculture. So they are agitated by such action. A delegation of farmers meets the district collector with their issues and complains that while they are not being allowed to irrigate their crops, big industries, another stakeholder located on the riverside, are drawing huge amount of water through deep bore wells for their industrial processes. The farmers allege that their administration is a anti-farmer and corrupt. So it is allegation against the collector being bribed by the industry. The district needs to placate the farmers as they are threatening to go on a prolonged protest. At the same time, the district collector has to deal with the water crisis. So यहाँ एक तरफ ये threat है that farmers would go on protest. At the same time, district collector has to deal with the water crisis. The industry cannot be closed as this would result in a large number of workers being unemployed. So ये भी threat है that you cannot close industry but just because there is no water. So discuss all the options available to the district collector as a district magistrate. What suitable action can be taken in view of the mutually compatible interest of the stakeholders? So mutually compatible interest serve होना चाहिए. And what are the potential administrative and ethical dilemmas for the district collector? So these are the three questions we need to handle. Okay, so let's look at first one. Options available to the district collector. फर्स्ट है एनफोर्स इक्विटेबल वाटर यूसेज रिस्ट्रिक्शंस. सो ये जो है ओके इक्विटेबल होना चाहिए. इससे क्या होगा? यूनिफॉर्म रिस्ट्रिक्शन होना चाहिए सबके लिए, नॉट ओनली फॉर फार्मर बट ऑल्सो फॉर इंडस्ट्री. सो इट इज नॉट सजेस्टिंग दैट कंप्लीट रिस्ट्रिक्शन होना चाहिए, लेकिन जो भी रिस्ट्रिक्शन डाल रहे हो वो सबके लिए सेम होना चाहिए. सेकेंड, हाईएस्ट प्रायोरिटी शुड बी गिवन टू ड्रिंकिंग वाटर नीड्स, क्योंकि अगर पीने का ही पानी नहीं होगा तो बाकी की एक्टिविटी करना तो मीनिंगलेस है. सो फोकस ऑन इसेंशियल ह्यूमन नीड्स ओवर एग्रीकल्चरल और इंडस्ट्रियल यूज. थर्ड, निगोशिएट विद द स्टेक होल्डर. सो आपको क्या करना है और डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर को क्या करना है? द डिफरेंट स्टेक होल्डर शुड बी इनवाइटेड, दे शुड बी ब्रॉट टुगेदर टू द टेबल एंड देयर शुड बी निगोशिएशन हैपनिंग अमंग देम. देन इंट्रोड्यूस टेम्पररी वाटर कोटा. सो फॉर द सेक ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिविटी, okay, you have to define how much water can be used by which stakeholder, and that has to be based on only essential purposes. Now what are the strategies for stakeholder compatibility? पहले तो एक कमिटी बनाओ, पहला होगा ओके, ज्वाइंट कमिटी होगा बैलेंस वाटर शेयरिंग के लिए. सेकंड होगा कि टीयर्ड वाटर यूजेज सिस्टम बनाओ ओके, जिसमें आप जो अलोकेशन करोगे वो प्रोपोर्शनेट होगा अकॉर्डिंग टू नेसेसिटी. सो इट शुड बी ड्रिवन बाय अ नेसेसिटी. देन प्रमोट वाटर इफिशिएंट टेक्नोलॉजीज. सो इसमें ड्रिप इरिगेशन है, इफिशिएंट इरिगेशन है ना. रिसाइकलिंग सिस्टम में वाटर रिसाइकल कर सकते हैं इंडस्ट्री में, ये भी होना चाहिए. देन एंश्योर ट्रांसपेरेंसी इन वाटर अलोकेशन. ओके, जो भी आप कर रहे हो वो ट्रांसपेरेंट होना चाहिए, सबको मालूम होना चाहिए, बिकॉज इट बिल्ड्स ट्रस्ट. ओके, देन नेक्स्ट इज इथिकल डायलेमा क्या है. फर्स्ट है बैलेंसिंग इकोनॉमिक नीड्स वर्सेस एग्रीकल्चरल इंटरेस्ट. सो यहां क्या करना है आपको, एड्रेसिंग इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स वर्सेस फार्मर्स ग्रीवांसेस. सेकंड है मेंटेनिंग मैनेजिंग परसेप्शन ऑफ करप्शन. सो आपको रिस्टोर ट्रस्ट करना है जो फार्मर में ब्रेक हो चुका है आपके बारे में या डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर के बारे में. एंड अलोकेटिंग लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेस, ये कैसे करना है. तो ऑन वन हैंड यू हैव फार्मर्स, ऑन द अदर हैंड इंडस्ट्रियल इकोनॉमिक इंडिपेंडेंस. सो ये डायलेमा फेस करेंगे. And how to navigate the conflict and providing solution. So पहले prioritize human needs, decide between drinking water needs and industrial operation. इसको differentiate करो. Conflict between short term and long term. So ये जो tension है ना, immediate response क्या होना चाहिए, sustainable measure क्या होना चाहिए, इसके बीच में आपको negotiate करना है. And handling public process कैसे करोगे? So navigate through farmer dissent and maintain stakeholder balance. सब stakeholder को on board ले लो, so that protest could be avoided and you can address concerns of each stakeholder in a very transparent and amicable way. So this is how the case study can be handled. Now last, this case study is about data ethics and drug ethics. Okay, the case study involves a scientist, Dr. Srinivasan. He is the senior scientist working for a reputed biotechnology company. वो कंपनी क्या कर रही है, it is involved in cutting edge research in pharmaceuticals. Okay, so pharmaceutical area है ये जिसमें ये सब हो रहा है. Srinivasan is heading a research team working on a new drug aimed at treating a rapidly spreading variant of a new viral infectious disease. The disease has been rapidly spreading, so this is alarming situation, like it happened in COVID, and the cases reported in the country are increasing. There is a huge pressure on scientists, Dr. Srinivasan's team, to expedite the trial for the drug as there is significant market for it. And the company wants to get the first mover advantage. So if the drug of the company comes first in the market, it will have advantage over the others. Okay. What is the other scenario? During a team meeting, some senior team members suggest some shortcuts. So what is being suggested here is use some shortcuts. For what? Expediting the clinical trials for the drug and for getting the requisite approval. So shortcut use करके हमें trial करना है और उसका अप्रूवल लेना है. दिस इंक्लूड मैनिपुलेटिंग डेटा. सो शॉर्टकट क्या है, मैनिपुलेशन ऑफ द डेटा. क्यों करना है, टू एक्सक्लूड सम नेगेटिव आउटकम्स, इसको एक्सक्लूड करो. एंड सिलेक्टिवली रिपोर्टिंग पॉजिटिव रिजल्ट. सो ट्रायल में दोनों भी रिजल्ट आ रहे हैं, नेगेटिव एज वेल एज पॉजिटिव, बट टीम इज सजेस्टिंग दैट और सम टीम मेंबर सजेस्टिंग दैट वी शुड ओनली इंक्लूड पॉजिटिव आउटकम्स. फोरगोइंग द प्रोसेस ऑफ इन्फॉर्म कंसेंट and using compounds already patented by rival company. So सिर्फ ये नहीं, तो वो क्या है, informed consent नहीं लेना चाहिए और जो ऑलरेडी कंपाउंड यूज किया है राइवल कंपनी का उसको ही यूज करना चाहिए हमें, so that our drug approval will be faster. Okay, Dr. Srinivasan being ethical person, he is not comfortable with any of these suggestions. Okay, at the same time he realizes meeting the target is impossible without using such means. So उसको ये भी पता है कि अगर हम ऐसा नहीं करते हैं सो हमारा जो टारगेट है टू ब्रिंग द ड्रग फर्स्ट इन द मार्केट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. अब क्वेश्चन देखो, आप क्या सजेस्ट करोगे कि इस सिचुएशन में क्या होना चाहिए. सो इट इज नॉट फ्रॉम श्रीनिवासन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, इट इज फ्रॉम योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू टू टॉक. सेकंड, एग्जामिन योर ऑप्शंस एंड कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस इन द लाइट ऑफ इथिकल क्वेश्चंस. सो आपके पास क्या क्या ऑप्शन है, कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या हो सकते हैं उसके, ये भी देखना है. एंड हाउ कैन डेटा एथिक्स एंड ड्रग एथिक्स save humanity at large in such a scenario. So data ethics में और drug ethics में जो भी rules है वो humanity के ऊपर positive impact कैसे ला सकते हैं, that you have to discuss. So let's deal with each sub question. पहले ऑप्शन देखते हैं. ऑप्शन ये होना चाहिए that maintain ethical integrity. So of course reject the shortcuts because it has larger implications. Okay, that compromises safety and credibility. Adhere to protocol which is established in the industry. So clinical trial के जो protocol है which are necessary for safety and efficacy उसको follow करना है. And raise the concerns. Okay, so ये जो unethical suggestion आ रहे that is very upsetting, very disturbing. तो ये आपको senior management को बताना चाहिए कि ये ऐसे हो रहा है which is harmful for the long term reputation of the organization. So option क्या है और उसके consequences क्या है. एक है टेक द शॉर्टकट्स. सो इथिकल इशू क्या आएगा इसमें? डेटा मैनिपुलेशन विल हैपन, कंसेंट बाईपास किया जाएगा और राइवल का आप कॉपी पेस्ट करोगे. कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या है? शॉर्ट टर्म गेन है, इसमें प्रॉफिट है ना, लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म पब्लिक हेल्थ इश्यूज आएंगे, डैमेज रिपुटेशन होगा, कॉम्प्रोमाइज इंटीग्रिटी होगी, तो ये सब निगेटिव है ना. रिजेक्ट शॉर्टकट में क्या होगा? यू आर मेंटेनिंग इथिकल प्रिंसिपल्स लाइक ट्रांसपेरेंसी, इन्फॉर्म कंसेंट, इंटीग्रिटी. कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या है? सिर्फ शॉर्ट टर्म डिले होगा, सो यही सिर्फ निगेटिव है. लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म में क्या होगा? क्रेडिबिलिटी आएगी, प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ द पर्सनल इंटीग्रिटी आएगी, है ना. थर्ड क्या है? रिपोर्ट अनइथिकल प्रपोजल. सो इथिकल ड्यूटी है, ये क्या ड्यूटी है? प्रिवेंट द हार्म, एंश्योर अकाउंटेबिलिटी. सो ये भी करना चाहिए. कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या है? शॉर्ट टर्म में फ्रिक्शन हो जाएगा अमंग दिस टीम मेंबर्स हु आर सजेस्टिंग शॉर्टकट एंड दोज हु आर रिपोर्टिंग. लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म में क्या होगा? दैट कंपनी पॉलिसी विल सी द इंप्रूवमेंट, that in future you won't have such people who would not even think of suggesting shortcuts. So ये ऑप्शन है. अब रोल ऑफ डेटा एथिक्स क्या है? देखो, दैट फर्स्ट इज इट शुड एम्फसाइज ऑन एक्यूरेसी एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी. ओके, क्यों चाहिए? बिकॉज ट्रायल्स वुड नॉट कॉज एनी हार्म इफ देयर इज एक्यूरेसी एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी. देन इन्फॉर्म कंसेंट होनी चाहिए. क्यों? Because patients have got autonomy and rights to do whatever they want with their life. So ये होना चाहिए. Then trust and credibility भी चाहिए. Okay. So ethical practices अगर आप use करोगे, it will build the trust in pharmaceutical company. It will bring credibility to your company. People will believe in your brand and they will blindly purchase your medicines. So ये भी होना चाहिए. Okay. देन इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ ड्रग इथिक्स क्या है? ड्रग इथिक्स के रूल क्या बताते हैं? दैट नॉन मेलेफिसेंस एंड बेनिफिसेंस होना चाहिए. नॉन मेलेफिसेंस का मतलब हार्म नहीं होना चाहिए बल्कि बेनिफिट्स होना चाहिए और वो भी जेन्युइन होना चाहिए. सेकंड प्रिंसिपल है दैट यू शुड रिस्पेक्ट इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी. ओके, अगर इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी का रिस्पेक्ट नहीं होगा तो लॉन्ग टर्म में इनोवेशन नहीं होगा, एडवांसमेंट नहीं होगा. सो यू शुड रिस्पेक्ट इवन पैटर्न्स ऑफ राइवल. यू शुड नॉट कॉपी देयर formula, copy their compounds, use their compounds. Third, public health and safety is paramount, whatever you do in that. So ensure safe and effective drugs are available, okay, and public health is protected. So ये सब drug ethics में आता है. So अगर ये रूल आप बताओगे तो उसके consequences भी आपको बतानी चाहिए. All right guys, now let's summarize what we have done. We have in brief discussed what could be likely answers of the given case studies. Now if you pay attention to all the answers that we discussed, they are in line with theories of ethics like utilitarianism, deontology, or virtue ethics. In some of the case studies we also used our awareness of attitude change or emotional intelligence, and in some of the case studies also we talked about systemic measures which are sometimes proposed by second ARC, which are sometimes proposed by other committees appointed by the government. Okay, so with this all knowledge at the back of mind, you have to answer the case studies. Now if you look at themes of case studies, none of the theme is repeated. Okay, each theme is varied and most of the themes have connection with the current affairs. So you take whether it is AI, whether it is Naxalism, whether it is problem of unemployed youth and they are getting attracted towards terrorism, or you take this recent case of drug ethics or data ethics, all this has connection to current affair. So if you keep a close watch on current affair and if you try to think current issues from ethical perspective by using theories and concepts in ethics, you will be prepared for case study in advance. So case study won't be surprise for you. Let me tell you again and again, case study section is the scoring section for most of the aspirants. Out of 125 marks in case study, almost most of the aspirants score 70 marks. It is that much scoring, provided that you prepare in advance. And one of the good thing about you all recent aspirants is you have enough PYQs to solve and practice. So since 2013, if you calculate the number of years, around 11 years PYQs are there. So 11 into 6, 66 case studies you can go through, you can solve, you can process, and thereby you can understand the thought process employed by UPSC. So I think this is enough in my opinion. All the best to you. If you at all have any queries, please put your queries into comment section. I will try to answer them to my best abilities. Thank you. Thanks a lot.